Today's episode is going to be packed with valuable information about how to listen to your intuition in different kind of relationships. You don't want to miss this episode, so stick around. So, how to listen to your intuition in different kind of relationships? That's a pretty popular question out there, and I will be sharing with you some of my tips and tricks on how to tap into your intuition. Everything that I'm sharing with you is based on my own experiences. It's things that have worked for me, that I have tested and checked out for myself. As always, I share them with you so that they can perhaps help you as well. So let's get started. First, I wanted to talk about what is really intuition. What is it? And without complicating things and giving you boring, long definitions, I will explain it to you in just a couple of words. It's your gut feeling. Intuition is your gut feeling. It's something that you can't touch or describe. It's just something that has been given to us naturally, and we feel it in our gut. That's basically it, intuition. It's an answer that you get naturally without resorting to some kind of a source of information. That's intuition. And the second question, what is the purpose of intuition and why is it there? The purpose of intuition is very simple. It's to solve problems so that we can use our instincts to know what kind of decisions we should be making. It's very simple. You can read a long article on psychology.com, but without overthinking it, basically that's what it's for. It's to solve problems. Intuition basically tells us what is good for us or what is not, and it tells us how to protect us. It's our natural instinct that we have had ever since humanity was formed. Very, very simple. So it's making decisions without having proven and quantified information about a particular situation. So you probably heard a lot of times from your friends and family and acquaintances that somebody was making a decision and they went with their gut or they followed their intuition. You hear that sometimes. From what I have observed is that some people can tap into their intuition much easier than others. And I know that there's reasons for this. I think that intuition overall is a powerful tool that if it's used correctly, it can help you a lot. And over the years, I noticed myself using my intuition a lot more and becoming much more intuitive as a person. And believe me, it has helped me tremendously. It's really worth looking into your own intuition and tapping into it as much as possible, or even trying to exercise it and find ways to improve it. Because sometimes people do know that they have intuition, but they don't want to tap into it for some kind of a fear that arises from a situation, or they don't want to admit it, or they prefer a different outcome. Maybe they have created a fantasy situation and they prefer to tap into that fantasy and live in it and not really realize that the intuition is right there telling them what's good and what's not. Intuition will always tell you what is good for you and what is not. That's just the way it is. It's automatic. So the first solution that I have for you in terms of tapping into your own intuition, making it work for you, is stop overthinking things. A lot of people are overthinking certain situations. They're using too much analyzing, too much thinking, questioning, too much logic. I know logic is really good, but sometimes you just cannot explain certain things. They happen in the way they happened, and people overthink. They create different scenarios, different possibilities, and just overthink the situation. So the first thing you can do in order to tap into your intuition is to stop overthinking situations and simplify them. And a lot of times when we are faced with pressure from other people and pressure to people please, that's when the overthinking steps in. because we're not listening to our own intuition and our own gut feeling. We are listening to society pressuring us to behave in a certain way that they think is fit, that they think is right, that they think will work for them, but it might not necessarily work for you. So people pleasing and trying to seek approval from others will thwart your intuition for sure. And a second tip is realizing your fight or flight behavior. We are built with instincts and intuition and survival techniques and methods that are in our subconscious. So a lot of times when intuition kicks in, it's also connected to our fight or flight behavior. Fight meaning we are fighting for our existence, for our survival, and flight, running away from a situation that is perhaps dangerous to us. And that's also when the intuition comes in and the fight and flight behavior goes with it. So don't ignore your fight and flight behavior that's built into you from the get-go. From when we were born, we always have had fight or flight situation. So that's one way to tap into your intuition on that level. And the third way to tap into your intuition is to pray for discernment. A lot of times we are faced with situations where we just cannot make a decision. We're listening to the intuition, we're listening to everything, but we just cannot make the decision. We don't know what the right decision is. Even though sometimes the intuition is there, we're not listening to it. What I suggest is that has worked for me a lot, is pray for discernment. You pray for answers to come to you from God, and you wait for them to appear to you as clear as a bright and sunny day. So praying for discernment, it's kind of like confirming what the intuition is telling you. You know, you have the feeling, the intuition is telling you to do a certain thing, and then you want to also confirm it, and you pray for the discernment to confirm that this is indeed the situation or a decision that you want to make. And with that being said, this brings me to tip number 4, which is sitting in quiet and finding downtime. So once you prayed for the discernment and you want to deeper tap into your intuition with the prayer and discernment, you also try to find some quiet time and build some downtime into your schedule so that you could relax and sit still and be quiet and hear that intuitional voice and discernment come in. It's really important to have that me time, to separate yourself sometimes from the hustle and bustle of every single day so that you could hear your own voice. Because how can you hear your own voice when you are running around like a chicken without a head and you're doing 55 things at once and you're bombarded with social media, internet, TV, technology, family, friends, and hundreds of things happening in one day? You cannot hear yourself. There's just no time and there's not enough quiet. What you have to do is you have to find a quiet time for yourself, away from all the chatter, including internet and social media, and preferably find somewhere close to nature. Nature is close to God. Nature is innocent and quiet and refreshing. And spend some time with yourself and nature and quiet and contemplate, read, relax, and just hear yourself think. And the decisions that were once confusing to you, or maybe you weren't sure about how to make them, they will start becoming clearer and clearer to you during your downtime, during your me time, because there's nothing interrupting your natural flow. There's nothing interrupting your peace. And in the quiet, you find the discernment. So that's really key. I'm sharing this with you because I have done this and it has helped me so much. And The fourth tip actually ties into the fifth tip, which is wait for the answers. Because a lot of times when I did create this sanctuary for myself where I would just detach myself from everything and spend time in quiet, even if I couldn't go anywhere, I would just have like a quiet day at home, like a staycation, and just do like a spa day and just pamper myself and drink nice herbal teas and read and just relax and sleep and just veg out. That time is also the wait time, because what you want to do in the end is you want to wait for the right answers to come. And sometimes it's needed for us to wait. Sometimes they don't come right away, or maybe we are not ready to hear them. If we're running around and there's a lot of chatter in our lives, these messages might be popping into our heads and kind of like bouncing off a wall. But when you sit in quiet and stillness and you allow for yourself to be heard, when you listen into your own thoughts, that's when the decisions and the discernment and the intuition and everything else around you start to make sense. When you start noticing things around you, when you tap into the nature and your surroundings, when you start observing things, listening to things, that's when you tap into your intuition. You should be doing this exercise every couple of weeks, because as you create the systematic solo me time, downtime situations, it's like going to the gym. You will be flexing that intuition muscle repeatedly and consistently. And before you know it, within a couple of months, you will start noticing that your intuition is much more in tune with you, and it will come to you quicker. And in situations where you feel like you have no idea how the decision came to you, but it came and you feel so certain about it and so sure about it, that's the intuition tapping into you immediately. And I have that happen to me. I've done these exercises. I've made sure that I not overthinking, not trying to please other people, not tapping into the fight or flight, not resisting the prayer and discernment, and waiting and being patient too, because that's really key as well. That's when my intuition started to improve. And it really is an amazing and powerful tool that, let me tell you, a lot of people that are powerful in business, they have been relying a lot on their intuition in their lives and in their business decisions as well. So if you are in business, if you're working as an entrepreneur, if you're in real estate, and you tap into the power of using and utilizing your own intuition, you are so much more ahead of the game as the rest of the population that is just on their iPhones nonstop, scrolling to Instagram and watching stupid videos and not realizing that lives are turning all around them. They're evolving all around them. And when it comes to decision, they don't know how to make it. They don't know what to do. They're not making the right decisions. Their decisions are flawed because they're not tapping into their intuition. So you want to be ahead of the game. You want to be ahead of everybody else and tap into your personal powers of using your own intuition. That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed my tips. Leave a comment below if you have any questions or comments, and see you in my next episode. Thank you so much for watching and for listening.